Hello, welcome back to the Harmony Inspired Health podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the stress trap and how it's hijacked your hormones. To help us out with this topic, we have a special guest, and it is someone who has not only built several award-winning wellness companies, but whose deep dive into hormonal health began with a powerful personal experience. Justin is the co-founder of Rebalance Health, and his mission is to help us understand the master hormone cortisol and how it might be the missing link in your health journey. He's also a featured expert in the upcoming Amazon Prime documentary, Shield, and has presented to NASA and the Pentagon. But don't worry, this is going to be super relatable and relevant for all of us, especially if you're a woman navigating your 30s, 40s, or beyond. Welcome to the podcast, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I would love to dive straight in, and I want to ask you, what do you mean when you say technology has hijacked our hormones? Can you walk us through what's happening on a biological level?
Well, absolutely. It's quite simple and quite straightforward. We haven't evolved at all. We are still the same Homo sapiens that we were 100, 200, 500, 1,000 years ago. And what happened in the mid-90s was we had started to go on a crazy ride. And that ride involves things like the internet, email, and everything that came along with it. And if you take a step back and you take a look at what life was like in the 80s and 90s, the pace of life was so much slower. There was a news hour, not a news station. There was a news flash, not 24/7 information about news. There was no social media. We didn't really have any insights into our friends' lives unless we actually had a conversation and picked up the telephone. We certainly didn't pretend what our lives were like on social media like we all do today, right? You only share what you want people to know or what you would like them to think of you versus what you actually are going through. And then came things like the iPhone and Android, and life became exponentially faster, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You had access to content, and that content could be entertainment, it could be work-related, it could be global news, politics, what have you. The world became instantly a much, much smaller place. But going back to my original statement, we haven't evolved. We are still the same humans we were many, 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 many decades ago. What does that mean? We're designed to wake up when the sun rises, and we're designed to go to bed when the sun goes down. We don't operate our lives like that anymore because the technology has gotten in the way. It has hijacked our health, and we are all addicted to technology. Companies have been incentivized financially to gamify everything. So you are addicted to scrolling and texting and gaming and whatever else that you want to do. We've been trained to have content 24/7, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, whatever device and platform you'd like to focus on. And that has interfered with our natural circadian rhythm. Why is that important? It's really, really straightforward stuff. You make all your hormones in your sleep. If you don't sleep, you don't make the hormones you need to function the next day. It's non-negotiable. Every human adult needs 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And if you don't, you're at a hormone deficit for the next day. So if you imagine having consistent hormone deficits, you're going to start feeling all the effects that the whole world is suffering from: anxiety, brain fog, libido issues, muscle mass issues, weight issues, anxiety issues. And that's how it manifests itself. Why does that happen? Because all the technology raises your cortisol levels up to such a high degree that we don't know the difference between normal cortisol levels and elevated cortisol levels. And because of the beeps and the buzzes and the vibrations and everything that's happening with our technology, we're constantly on edge. And that on edge keeps our cortisol high. And cortisol is preventing us from falling asleep and staying asleep. Hence, lack of hormone production and the deterioration of our health. It's a very simple cause and effect. And everything else that we want to discuss and talk about is a justification as to why we're entitled to do other things that get in the way of sleep. Where really the number one thing we should have been trained to do since the day we were born was to protect maniacally our sleep. because that is the lifeline for the human body.
100%. And I'm so grateful for one that I did not grow up in an era with social media. I cannot even imagine the long term impacts that haven't been able to truly be studied yet because of how sort of new it is in relative speaking. And yeah, totally agree with you with the sleep cycle. And I still am a registered nurse, but nurse in an emergency department for many, many years doing night shifts. And it was probably I was at my worst health ever when I was doing night shifts and not getting the sleep and riddled with like cortisol levels shifting and changing. And I think that's why I dove so deep into Ayurveda to save me, because it really does support exactly what you're saying about leaning into the circadian rhythm. We are nature. We are part of nature. But with the
Absolutely.
modern world, we've changed the way that our body clocks are supposed to be functioning, and it's not healthy for us. So how does this specifically affect women, technology and it hijacking our hormones, specifically for women that are in that perimenopausal to menopausal stage, who are already experiencing hormonal shifts, like a natural hormonal shift, and then they bring this on top of it all?
That's a great question. And again, it's very linear. We all maximize our hormones in our teenage years, our 20s. And right around 25, we start to see a plateau of our hormone production. And then we start a very rapid decrease in hormone production. That's normal, right? That's absolutely 100% normal. And so if you can imagine that you have a very high level of testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and as you come into your 20s, your 30s, you start going down. And by the time you're in your 40s, you're at a very low level of production in contrast to literally 20 years prior. That's normal. When you are getting the correct amount of sleep and managing your stress appropriately, you'll have mild perimenopausal symptoms. But when you add on to that the high cortisol levels that prevent you from sleeping, so what very little hormones you are supposed to make, you don't make, now your hormone symptoms from perimenopause are exacerbated. And I can prove that because I did it to myself. With the help of a doctor, I took my estrogen levels to zero. I had hot flashes up the wazoo every 45 minutes for as long as I could stand. I lasted 4 weeks. Couldn't take it any longer. It was absolutely debilitating, embarrassing, and frustrating. And I did it for 4 weeks. Can't imagine women going through that for 7 to 14 years with no help. And so once I was able to bring my estrogen levels back up, guess what? My hot flashes and my heat body temperature started to regulate. And the way that I can explain this is quite simple. There is no magic number for women, just like there is no magic number for men in terms of your hormones. Your hormones are as unique to yourself as your thumbprint is. That's why every doctor that wants to support women or men with HRT goes through the same protocol. Let's do an extensive hormone panel. And then they sit you down and they say, well, tell me how you're feeling, because that panel can't tell the doctor if your levels are high or low, because it has to go forward and ask the questions. How are you sleeping? How are your energy levels? How's your mental clarity? Then based on that information, the doctor then provides a recommendation on potentially a pharmaceutical solution intervention to help regulate your hormones. Once that occurs, ideally, they would ask you to come back 90 days later and do it again. Why? Because it's an experiment, one human at a time, and there's no preset number for what level of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, even thyroid or HGH hormones should be at. Everyone is unique. When you don't sleep, you don't make that ratio of hormones that's unique to your body's DNA, your fingerprint that is unique to you. So on come the symptoms of perimenopause at a much more intense level. And as you'll note, most women will say that when they get better sleep, their symptoms are far less. And so everything in your world is related to the quality of the sleep that you're getting. And it is very important to dial that back in.
And I do want to bridge those two answers together, actually, because I know before bed is such a common time for women to get on the scroll on their social apps. And I've also, been told by clients that it's a way for they find that they calm themselves down or ground themselves at the end of the day by going through the scroll. We know from a functional medicine perspective, Ayurvedic perspective, that there's like a lot of implications to our hormones, our nervous system, and whatnot. But for those who think that this is actually calming their nervous system and are
It's very interesting. It's a dopamine rush. Everyone's
yeah.
searching for the dopamine hit, and you think it's calming, but you're 100% right. It's not calming.
Mm.
It's your druggie. You're looking for your next hit. It really is that simple. And people, oh, I know my body better. It's the same as a drug thing. I don't have a drug problem. It's the same.
Yeah, totally. So what are some silent sort of signs that our cortisol rhythms have been disrupted, even if we're not burned out in the traditional sense?
Can you fall asleep quickly? Do you lie in bed and have monkey brain? Do you constantly think about what I have to do tomorrow? Or does when your head hits the pillow, within 5 minutes, you're unconscious? If you're not unconscious, your cortisol level's too high. It should be that straightforward. Now, I know that's wishful thinking for a lot of people, the majority of people. I wish I could do that. Most of the people that take our supplements say that's the first thing they notice. Like, oh my God, I'm able to go to sleep quickly. Now, the staying asleep part is the next part of the challenge, right? Because that involves lifestyle changes. The older you get, the harder it is to control your bladder,
Mm.
right? There's a reason you see elderly people going for dinner at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's because they need their bladder to be empty for them to go to bed and stay asleep. It's really that straightforward. You go to bed at 8, 9 o'clock, you go to bed at like 10 o'clock at night, but you're having dinner at 8 o'clock, guaranteed you're going to wake up in the night and use the bathroom if you're over 50. There's just biology. And where we come from is our ego takes over. But, I'm an adult now. I want to enjoy a late night dinner with my friends. You absolutely can, but you have to understand the cause and effect of what the consequence might be. Just like I know I should exercise this week, but I'm going to binge watch a TV show instead. Or I know I should have healthy food, organic and greens and veggies and protein, but I'm going to opt for the fast food instead. You know what the right choice is. You just justify to yourself what is better for you at that moment in time. And so it's not like none of us know what we should be doing. It's just we lie to ourselves. We justify.
Just don't do it. So what are some non-pharmaceutical ways that women can begin to reset their hormonal balance, especially cortisol levels?
Well, I would say that the best thing is to take a Rebalance Health. No question, we're the only supplement on the planet with 5 clinical studies, meaning double-blind IRB, open label, and blind studies published in medical journals, proven to reduce symptoms of perimenopause and to help improve sleep. We studied over 2,000 nights of sleep data. And basically what the product is, it's all Ayurvedic. So we took the best of Ayurvedic medicine, the best of Chinese medicine, and we wrapped it in a Western delivery system. So we're a sublingual lozenge that you suck on. It's basically a mint, simple as that, but it's packed with wonderful ingredients. So I know we're a podcast, but it's a little mint, you put it in your mouth and you suck on it. And that helps. Now, it's not a magic supplement by itself. Okay, let's be 100% honest, even though it's packed with all the goodies that you would absolutely love, right? We're talking things like ashwagandha, maca, bacopa, oat straw, L-theanine, magnesium, oat straw, panax ginseng, reishi mushroom, cordyceps mushrooms, tonka alley, vitamin D, sunflower lecithin, zinc, all of those packed into a little lozenge. Okay. And the reason for this is all these ingredients have been proven to help calm you down, calm your nervous system, help keep cortisol low, improve all kinds of different benefits like sleep and calm your nerves and support boosting different hormones whilst you're sleeping. But by itself, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough. It's like, I'm going to eat whatever I want, but I'm going to exercise every day. It doesn't always work. Or the reciprocal. I'm going to eat really healthy, but I'm never going to exercise. It's not enough. You have to do things in combination. And so we are huge advocates for you have to eat healthy. You have to minimize your sugar. You have to lift weights. And you have to do some level of exercise in terms of cardiovascular for your physical health. Everyone asks me, what's the best diet? What's the best exercise? It's the one that you're going to stick to and actually do. That's the best one. Okay. I'm a big believer in an all round diet, farm to table. And here's the secret: consume less calories than you're going to burn. There is no secret, right? I mean, how many different diets have been out for the past 50 years? It's insane how many different diets, right? And they're fads. They come and they go. At the end of the day, you need to look at a balanced lifestyle, a balanced diet that works for you. Some people have intolerances and some people don't. Just figure out what works best for you.
Mm,
Next thing is drink water, stay away from caffeine and alcohol. Don't have to be a saint, but don't abuse it, right? Like you can't sit on the couch, take the supplements and eat bonbons and pizza and expect that your life's going to be great. It's just not going to work out that way. So we have to be realistic when it comes to exercise. As far as I'm concerned, everyone needs to lift weights. Simply, it's the only way to get bone health and to get muscle health and to keep the muscle on. And especially, it's much harder as you get older. So you have to be more maniacal. You don't have to actually lift 1,000 pounds. You just have to lift some weights and keep your muscles moving and keep them strength. Let's keep the strength up. Cardio, I wish people would stop jumping on cardio machines all day long, because guess what, guys? You can eat more calories than you can possibly, you can eat more calories in basically 30 seconds than you can burn in an hour on the treadmill.
true.
Right. So if your diet isn't dialed in, you're wasting your time, and all you're doing is burning muscle. You're not even burning fat, because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to start breaking down muscle, and it takes about 4 to 5 hours to start breaking down fat. So basic physiology, you understand what's going on. And then the last thing is just be mindful of your sleep. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. So sleep hygiene is the key. It's all about preparing for sleep. It's all making sure that by the time your head hits the pillow, you're really mellow, you're chilled out, you're not worrying about anything else, and you've made a conscious effort to get there. You haven't just decided, I'm going to stop, now I can sleep. It doesn't work that way. Cortisol's high in the morning, lower in the afternoon, and you're bringing it down as low as you possibly can before you go to bed. So watching a horror movie, going to work out late at night, having a heavy meal, having an argument, that's not going to help you with sleep, right? So you really do have to think about, can I put a sleep routine together? Like, do I take a bath? Do I take a shower? Do I meditate? Do I ground? Do I have a moment of peace? Do I read a book? Something that's slightly more traditional and cheesy, shall we say? Very, very cheesy, right? Let's be with my partner. Let's be intimate. All those things are wonderful things to do to help bring your cortisol levels down. And I'm not making that up. There's literally dozens of studies proving that physical intimacy, contact, hugging your partner, a pet, lowers your cortisol dramatically and quickly. And so just doing those types of things can help prepare you for bed. And then when you get into bed, make sure that your bed is a sacred place for sleeping or intimacy, not for working, not for watching TV, not for doing computer on your laptop, on your bed. That's all going to raise your cortisol and associate bed with stress. And it's going to be very difficult to tune your body into this as a sacred place. And I know that when I'm in bed, I can fall asleep quickly. It's a safe place and I can stay asleep. Those are the types of things we have to be mindful of. None of it's rocket science. It's all quite common sense.
Yeah.
But we've got so entitled and so egotistical about what our life should look like and how we can do it that we've gotten in our own way.
The method really to optimal health is very simple, as you've just explained. It's just the implementation of it that people are missing. And like I always say to my clients, you've got to choose your hard. You know, you've got to choose the hard to change and implement some of these things, which will make it easier in the long run. Or the hard is staying as you are now. Your life's hard. That's why you're here, coming and seeing me, or going and seeing Justin, or taking supplements and reading his books and watching his shows and stuff like that. So choose your hard.
Yeah, choose something that makes you excited and happy and that you know is a fun place to go. Working 24/7 is not a good trait,
No.
and stressing out is not a good trait. You can actually achieve more and be more effective when you have a clearer mind. And the analogy I like to use is, would you drive your loved ones in a car operating off of 4 hours sleep on a long journey? Most people would say, of course not, that's dangerous. You're doing that with your businesses. Why are you making business decisions on such little sleep? Do you think that they're sound business decisions? It's the same thing in your life. You're having sound conversations and discussions with your partners, your loved ones. If you're not quite 100% with it, the wrong words come out, tempers fly, things like that. Yeah. If you can be calmer, you can be more logical, more focused, more on, you'll find that the world becomes a more pleasant place to live in and to be part of and to give back to.
And I guess we could have started with this at the start, but I'm going to take this full circle and ask you about what got you so passionate about health, hormones, and technology hijacking our hormones. I know that you have had personal experience with your wife's journey with
Mhm.
Cushing's syndrome. Are you open to sharing more about that and how it deepened your understanding of hormone health?
Absolutely. So I started a skincare company called Elastin Skincare, and that was a medical grade topical medical solution that we developed to help people recover from procedures and surgeries and burns faster. And out of that, we decided to look into supplements for skincare as we were asked by some large companies. And I didn't find that the connection was as obvious to me as maybe it was to some others. And I pivoted towards endocrinology, not because it was out of the blue, but actually my initial formulation with elastin had HGH in it, even though we pivoted towards peptides. So we already had an interest in endocrinology. And as I was doing more and more research, I was just fascinated by cortisol. Everyone was taking HRT. Peptides were going crazy. CJC Morellin, IPA Morellin, Sermorelin, all were in the buzzwords in the industry in 2018, 2019. Then in the United States, the government banned pretty much every single peptide from being used. It was reclassified as a biologic. And so they weren't suitable for human consumption according to the FDA. And then HRT just exploded during that time, COVID and, into, 2022, 23, 24. And again, I was fascinated with cortisol because even though everyone was focused on the sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, no one was talking about cortisol. And in the research that I did with the doctors that were educating me, I learned that almost every molecule in the human body has a cortisol receptor. No other hormone works that way. So cortisol, the hormone, could hijack the body, literally hijack the body. Cortisol is essentially your alarm system. It's what tells your body when there's danger. Wherever it was back when we were Neanderthals, or whether it's today's world where there's danger from cars, fires, and all kinds of other things in our world, cortisol spikes to tell the body, hey, 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 pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. There's something that's very dangerous ahead of us. And all of a sudden, adrenaline would kick in, and that's the action hormone that jumps you into action. Well, what cortisol does is it basically diverts everyone's attention in the body. And it shuts down some functions that you don't need in an emergency situation. You don't need libido. You don't need metabolism. You don't need all those elements that the body offers when you're in an emergency state. So no wonder we're gaining weight. No wonder that we have no libido because we're all in the elevated state artificially because of technology. So I'm going down this path, putting together solutions and ideas around cortisol, started putting together ingredients. Doctors are advising us on different ingredients that do different benefits and so forth. And along that path, about 9 months in, my wife was diagnosed with Cushing's. So it wasn't the kind of the foundation of the company, but it was definitely a pivotal point that it became personal. And none of the medicines that were being prescribed were helping my wife. And I honestly thought at one point that I was going to lose her. And whether it was misguided or not, I'm like, I can solve this. I can fix this. There's a reason, there's a logic here that can lead to a path that can make this thing work. It involved not cutting corners. It involved using the right ingredients and then picking the right delivery system and then having an understanding about metabolism. Right. And that is one of the key components I think differentiates Rebalance from everybody else. We are like a cough drop. You put the lozenges in your mouth throughout the day as you need it. Why? Well, your body has a metabolism that utilizes anything that you put inside of it every 4 to 6 hours. That's why you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's when you have pain medication, take it every 4 to 6 hours. Flu and cold medication, every 4 to 6 hours. Even antibiotics, as you go through the course, every 4 to 6 hours. Because of metabolism, your body is utilizing those ingredients. So you can't control cortisol with one pill a day, one gummy a day, one whatever a day. You have to think about it as a holistic approach to this is an artificial stimulation coming from outside that's elevating cortisol levels, right? It's an outside source. You can't really control it, right? It's dependent on your environment. And as your days gets more stressful, pop another mint, take a suck on it. And let the ashwagandha, the maca, and all these ingredients, the ginseng calm you down, back to normal levels, and you can continue on with your day in a calm, logical fashion. And so the formulation, the quality of the ingredients, the testing, even the studies that we've done were all based around, I have to make sure that this works. I don't want to be another supplement company that has smoke and mirrors around it. And we know, because there's been literally hundreds of studies on it, that 90 to 95% of all supplements ever taken get urinated out of your body. They never actually enter your bloodstream. They just get passed right through. And in the United States, it's a $60 billion market, of which most of it gets flushed down the toilet. And so I couldn't do that to our customers, our patients, or my wife. And so this mission became very personal and almost maniacal for me just to do the right thing. Like, I didn't cut corners on anything because in a way, my wife's life was on the line and I wouldn't compromise.
And how is your wife now?
Thank you for asking. She's doing wonderfully well.
Good. I'm so glad to hear. That's so good. And an important question about the lozenges. Did you say they were sublingual?
Yeah, you suck on them and as soon as you chew them and bite them, you don't give the body the opportunity to absorb it. And by sucking on the lozenge with the saliva, you're slowly getting the body's ability to absorb the product as it goes down your throat and into the body. Much, much better for you that way. Here in the United States, the only supplement that was recommended through COVID was a zinc lozenge. It wasn't a zinc gummy. It wasn't a zinc pill. It was a zinc lozenge.
Mhm.
There's a reason for that.
And really important question, what does it taste like?
Tastes like mint.
Just mint. Awesome.
Yeah, no, as an Ayurvedic doctor, you're well aware that Tonkat Ali is nasty. Ashwagandha is really
Yeah,
nasty.
I'm thinking, how have you described it, like disguised?
Yeah, no, it is. It's a very good question. I'm not shy to say, and my investors will tell you, the first year of product was horrific.
Okay.
It was very difficult to take the taste. And we spent a lot of money and a lot of time going through different processes to make the taste palatable. And now to the point where we almost crave it. It's like having mints, literally. I've just finished one. I'll take another one. I mean, they are addictive. I think I'm eating all the profits on this podcast. But essentially, it tastes like a mint. So we have now got them on our website as Meno mints for women going through perimenopause and menopause. We have man mints for men for any age. And then we have mellow mints for everyone in between, everyone that just wants to just calm their cortisol levels down. And that's followed by Dream at Night, which is the sleep lozenge that helps us further control cortisol into the night, right? Because you need an additional 4 hours at least to get going, and then your body should automatically take over. So we have it both in the melatonin version and a melatonin-free version. And I'm very biased, but I think they're amazing.
Wonderful. Love that. Good work. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us. Would you like to leave the listeners any parting words or inspiration, and also where they can find you and your lozenges?
Absolutely. So you can find us at rebalancehealth.com. We will be on the shelves in September here in the United States, but available on Amazon, I'm sure, for international shipping as well. The book is called Stress Nation, and that can be found at stressnationbook.com. My parting words for everyone is relax. You'll never get out of this life alive, right? It's really simple. You just won't. Everyone's going to be born, everyone's going to die. And what you make of it in between is really important. And it's amazing what you can do when you slow down, smell the roses, and understand that you are being manipulated by your devices. And if you can learn to control that addiction and that urge, you'll be amazed at how your life can turn around. And there is no magic sauce. There is no magic sauce.
Except for those mints.
No, the mints by themselves won't work. It's kind of like,
Absolutely. You can never out supplement a poor
no, you
lifestyle or diet.
can't. And there's a lot of supplement companies that say, yeah, it's all about us. And I'm like, no, you're not. You've got to do your part as well. It's kind of like the GLP-1s. I don't know what it's like in Australia, but over here, everyone's going crazy for the GLP-1s. Well, guys, the GLP-1s are fabulous. It's an amazing, wonderful drug that works for people that actually need it. But the problem is it's not going to the people that actually need it. It's going to those people that have vanity issues.
100%.
The problem with those vanity issues is now we know it actually eats more muscle than it does fat. And all that wonderful volume you have in your face, it's gone after being on these GLP-1s after a few months. And you have no choice. You then have to go get fillers because you'll never get them back. And the second you come off the GLP-1, you gain all the weight back, but it's not muscle that you lost. It's all fat. So it's actually not that wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It has been great to have this conversation with you. And thank you to all of our listeners. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you do go and check out Justin's upcoming feature is it Shield? Is that how I say it?
Yeah. Shield. She healed. That's
Shield.
she healed. So it's been
All one word.
all one word, Shield. It'll be on Amazon Prime, I believe, in Q4 of this year.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, so go and check that out, guys. And also follow his work at Rebalance Health. And for those of you who are looking to understand your own hormones and feminine power through the lens of Ayurveda, my book, Ayurveda and the Alchemy of Her, is out now. And you can also explore our embodiment pathway inside the Ayurveda Alchemist Academy. Thank you so much. Hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, or morning, wherever you are listening from around the world.